Yeah, 모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps and I see that you are 배불러 So fly
All right, Cosell. I have an awesome conversation for us today. The Tom Brady roast on Netflix, Cosell, was a success, and I almost think it was important. But before I say why I think it's important, I want your take. What did you think?
You know, I wasn't really interested in it at the beginning, and then the clip started to come out on Twitter. And then I was told that we may be talking about this. So after the Inoue Neri fight this morning, where I got no sleep, I decided to kind of check it out. But you know what? I knew I had to watch it, and when I knew it must have been funny? When the people on a certain side of Twitter and sports media, you know who I'm talking about, started whining about how it wasn't funny. These things shouldn't be talked about. And I said, you know what? Hold on. This makes it must see. And you know what? I'm gonna be completely honest here, Jason. I have never believed that Tom Brady would be a good media personality. I didn't think he was funny enough. I didn't think he was gutsy enough to say certain things. But his monologue, you know what? He's changed my mind. When he made that joke, my eyes turned around. My eyes. When he said that he made the jokes about 9/11 and the two jets, I was like, oh boy. Oh boy. So I never thought I'd put Mo Lewis and Muhammad Atta in the same sentence, but Tom Terrific did it. I give it a thumbs up. It was very good.
So this is why I think this may be more important than people realize. The complaints you're talking about, good sign that people were offended. But man, there wasn't 1 ounce of PC in this entire deal. Nothing about this was politically correct. And for that to be transpiring on Netflix, and I know they've hosted Dave Chappelle specials and Cat Williams specials or whatever, but this is another one of those moments where I'm like, the dam is breaking. That everybody's tired of playing by the only joke we can crack is the Donald Trump joke.
Yeah.
Now, these guys sat here and for 3 hours, Jews weren't off limits, black people weren't off limits, gays, transgenders, white people, nobody was off limits. Tom wasn't off limits as it relates to jail. Only thing that was off limits was Bob Kraft and massage parlors. Tom got upset about that, but I just think it's an important moment for comedy. And look, maybe I just haven't watched enough roasts or public ones, but man, I love the fact just how they just threw political correctness out the window and just went for it with comedy. And no one acted like, at least in that audience, no one acted like, oh my God, the world is going to end. They cracked it. Dana White said, you called him liberal Fs and said, ain't I trans enough? No one acted like a crime had been committed last night. So I think it's important.
You know, Netflix wasn't even off limits. I mean, Dana White just said, you know what? Let me just say what I'm going to... You know who I kind of felt sorry for? Kim Kardashian. She got beat up more than a heavy bag or a piñata in East LA at a birthday party. I mean, you want to talk about being just a target, and she's in the front row, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I got to give this credit. The only guy that was missing, and God rest his soul, who would have made it complete, he would have made it the 92 Dream Team, right, of roast. If Norm Macdonald was there, it may have just made it the perfect roast of all time. But, you know, I remember as a kid, and I still see these commercials once in a while, these infomercials when the Rat Pack, I guess Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, that whole crew, they used to do celebrity roasts, and Don Cornelius used to just shred people. And back in those days, you could be very risque in what you said, and everybody laughed, they drank, they had a good time. The guy that really stood out, because he was trending a lot, what's his name, Tony Hinchcliffe? Yeah, that guy went on a rant where it wasn't just Brady. I mean, he did a drive-by with an AK-47 in the middle of the afternoon at a block party. I mean, he just went right down the list. boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my God, nobody. If I was sitting on the left side and he was on the right side of the table, I may have just ran out of there because I know because he's going down the line. I'm thinking this guy has a joke for everybody, and they're all good. So it was good, and I love the fact that they even made a white Bronco joke. And that had to be for OJ. And I guess now Aaron Hernandez's widow is upset about the joke that Tom Brady cracked on the former teammate. You can make an argument, is it too soon? But I think there's a realization here. Aaron Hernandez is the modern-day OJ in a lot of ways. He's the modern-day football player. Obviously, he's not iconic, but he was well-known. And with the depth of what he did, the depravity that he was involved with, in a situation like that, whether you're letting your hands go, he is fair game.
The other thing, Steve, that caught me off guard, because I've never been a big Kevin Hart fan. He was pretty dang funny last night. He was really, really good and risque and just look. I don't know if I just didn't know there was that much material that could be unleashed. But again, he's like any other human being, and the stuff with Giselle makes him an easy target. And man, they made the most of that. Did you feel any sympathy for Giselle?
No, she did. See, look, Tom is the victim here. From what we know, and again, we could be completely wrong. He was the one that he didn't get caught straying. She did. All right? So the evidence is there. So if Tom can take that joke, Giselle, you just better lay down and take it, which we already know that you do from someone else. The other thing that was really funny, look, Bill Belichick is trying to reinvent himself like Madonna every other year. I give the guy credit. He's letting people rip on him. His former players like Edelman, and he seems to be able to take it. He also did a skit with Drew Bledsoe before the thing where he said, hey, Drew, you're out. You're going to the bench, partner. Look, it's in good fun. No one is forcing anyone to watch this. And there's a bigger picture here. At what point do these people start to think or stop believing that they are the morality police in terms of speech? I would argue what took place last night on Netflix at the Forum is a lot less harmful and much more unifying than stuff that's going across college campuses all over the last 3 weeks. Why don't you be more concerned about that?
Well, I certainly, it was far better than I anticipated. And I actually left there encouraged, like, oh man, we can crack jokes again. And we could, again, that was a locker room last night. That's what a locker room sounds like, feels like. Nothing's off limits. The whole, Kevin Hart was great. I don't know if it was writers or if it was him, but he was great. The whole Giselle being AB's +1, I just thought was brilliant. Man, that was good. Steve, before I let you go, I wanted to ask one other thing. I want to combine two things. They just did this big roast of Tom Brady. I don't think he's retired. I think he's going to come back and play. I do. Someone needs him in an emergency, he's going to play. And now J.J. Watt is also saying he would be available in an emergency situation for Houston, which is just another smoke signal of like, hey, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh, pair me with my brother for the second half of the season. And some of this to me seems like it's a, hey man, the checks are so big and you have to practice so little and they've changed up the rules so much that the physical cost just isn't there. None of these guys, Aaron Donald, he'll probably play this year if the situation's right with the Rams. J.J. Watt will come back, and Tom Brady. You agree or disagree?
What are these guys? All the Rolling Stones? How many farewell tours are we going to do? Or is like how many last albums did Too Short put out? This is ridiculous. They're all Sugar Ray Leonard at this point. When I was a kid, I'll never forget, Jason, this had to be around 84, 85, maybe a little sooner. Remember when Jim Brown was threatening to come back with the Raiders and he made the cover of Sports Illustrated? Because I think he was very upset that Franco Harris, he didn't like his running style because he said he always ran out of bounds. So he was threatening to come back. And, like a little joke, everyone laughed it off. And then I remember several years later, Lyle Alzado tried to come back after he had been retired for 3-4 years. And that had some tragic background to it because turned out he had loaded up his body with a lot of illicit PEDs, and he believed that caused his issues that ended up killing him or causing his passing, in his belief, about a year or two later. Look, Reggie White did it after a year. He wasn't really the same player with the Carolina Panthers. But, Jason, come on. In my view, there should be a rule. If we do a celebrity roast for you and you get all these people and you rent out a building, that's it. That's your retirement. That's your gold watch. That's like, hey, Tom, thanks for the good 20-some-odd years. Now get the out of here and earn your TV money. Come on, Jason. It's over. Let it die. Let it die, please.
You're probably right. You're probably right. Thank you, Steve. Great job as always. Want to thank Preborn for making this possible. You guys know Preborn seeks out women who are questioning whether or not to have an abortion. They provide them an ultrasound, introduce that baby, introduce that mother to the baby growing inside of them. That woman is now twice as likely to choose life. That's when Preborn steps in, steps up, thanks to us. 2 ways to give. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/fearless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.